it's so like, I hate drawing on white nowadays because it's so bright. Like
You're old.
it's like look, you
That
see
was
like
a big call out.
there's so much white coming off my screen because I've got 3 screens. I got this like side one, and then I look sickly from all the like the white. I wish I could hide this. That might help a little bit. God. Frightening. It drives me crazy.
You're really calling yourself out, just like a little bit, I think. Just a little bit.
So, are you gonna draw on your tablet?
No, I just got regular pen and paper.
Paper? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we got some folks saying hello, everyone. We got some people coming in. Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Jen.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Jade. Chris is so white today. We were just talking about that.
It is like, it's so, like, I had to lower the intensity of my screen because it was just so bright. So, and anyway, whatever. How's everyone doing? We'll give everyone a little bit of time to start coming in. I had a good time yesterday during the Jackbox game. That was fun.
Yeah, did you?
I had a great time. That was I forgot how fun that game was. Kazuo asked. Funny. So I hope the Ring of Love, that was funny. There was some good stuff that came out of that. That was really funny. I got some good laughs.
Yeah, and I screenshotted all of it, so if we ever want to recreate it.
Awesome.
If you weren't able to come last night to the game night, you should make sure you keep checking up on the events in the Discord.
Whoops.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. Hey, everyone. We're just waiting for giving a couple minutes for everyone to come in before I start this little lesson. Ella told me you guys were excited about this, so I'm excited to do this. I don't know why I'd never done this before. Is the music okay? Oh, I don't know why you put your comment on the screen. Oh, by accident. Okay. So like there's all these like buttons and things I can push and they do things and I have to be careful by not like accidentally pushing something. So okay, Jade, I promise we will get to like the good stuff first so you can get like the real important stuff. Like I've prepared some materials.
The basics,
and we're gonna go through
yeah.
this. So, and so remember, this stream is for you guys to draw with me. Okay, so, and if you draw with me tonight while we're drawing a Hugo together, and send them to Ella on Discord, right? Is that where you want it, Ella?
Yeah.
And then she can send it to me, and then I can share if you guys are brave enough to share your Hugos. And you know what? You probably will draw better than me because you know how I am whenever I draw publicly. Like I get all like nervous. So you'll probably draw Hugo better than I will. So.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. So what? We're a few minutes after, so we're gonna get started.
Yeah.
Welcome to everyone who's come on board. I see a lot of our old friends on here who are with us. If you haven't already, you should absolutely, before I get started with teaching you how to draw Hugo, who's the main character of Flex Destiny. If you're not familiar with Flex Destiny, you go to flexdestiny.com. There's all sorts of resources there to get you into the universe. And then to our RPG, which is Flux Fantasy. And that's what Ella runs. She runs our RPG. So be sure to go there and get signed up for the updates because you'll also get like the free character kit. You'll get the character guide, and our beta is starting this month. So we're pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's get started. So you all know, we all know Hugo. You know and love. Let's talk about some of the things that make Hugo, what makes a perfect Hugo when you're going to draw him, okay? The secret behind Hugo really comes down to his proportions. And I think that's whenever people get, whenever they draw Hugo, or whenever I'm working with other artists and they're trying to draw him and they're trying to get what makes him look like official Hugo is understanding the proportions on it. So I prepared just a couple little things here, and we got to, hold on, let me move it over here so you can see it. So we're gonna start with the head, okay? And the head is gonna be one of the most, this Hugo that I use for the profile picture on a lot of my social is one of my favorites because I think it's like, it gets his proportions like absolutely the way I want them. And that was like the way I drew it, and I was like, okay, this is the model head for Hugo, okay? And so let's look at what that is. So I have them here kind of side by side, if you can kind of see. So the reason why this works and that this is a cute design is because of the proportions. His head, which if I were to take another layer here and draw over this, let me zoom into this Hugo right here. His head actually, if I were to complete his head, is actually about here, right? And so when you're doing the proportions, this area, this general area of his head, so his face, the general top part of his head, the middle part of his head, and his jaw take about each 1/3 of the proportion of the main part of the skull, right? The middle proportion, like where his face would be and his ears, and because his head is, this wasn't designed to be a what do you call it, like a model. It was just a cute drawing I did of him, but what happened was that his head is kind of tilted, so it's not like exactly within the proportions. Mm-hmm. But that middle section you divide into half, right? And so his eyes fit in the half, and his nose and mouth fit below that in the second part of the half. So if you understand the proportions of how Hugo works, you can draw a really good Hugo. So I've got like the math right here, right? So third, the middle third is a half, right?
You didn't
so
tell me there's going to be math involved. Gross.
Well, hey, he is a clockwork escape artist, right? So
oh, okay.
He's gonna have wah wah.
Wah wah.
If you go to here, this other recent picture I drew of him, you can also see the proportions in action here. So a third, and a third, right? So this is really important if you want to draw him. And his hair on its own is pretty fluffy, and takes about, actually could fit in one of these thirds. You're just sliding it down, right? So you're taking a third and sliding it down a bit. So let's now look at his head size, his body proportion. So if we take this drawing of him, Hugo's about 7.5 heads tall, and that's the proper proportion for him. At his age, it's about 7.5 feet tall. And if you're not familiar with using heads to proportion out your characters, normally you take the head, right, like the shape of the head, and then you duplicate it down to give you the kind of proportions you want for the character. Everything below his waist, his top part, everything from like the belly button up is 3, and everything below is 4.5. So that's usually the proportions I work with. So if I draw a little dividing here, this is the head and chest or torso.
And these heads aren't feet, right? That's what Entity is saying.
No, they're not feet. They're not feet. He's not 7.5 feet tall. He's 5'7". So it's not feet. It's, if you were to take yourself, you could do this with yourself. You could take a full body picture of yourself and take your head and copy it in Photoshop and see what your proportions are. And generally people follow the same amount of proportions. If you were to do, like, for example, if you wanted to do a version of Hugo that was a chibi version, chibi characters are usually 2 heads tall, right? With the head being the whole head being in one head and then the rest of the body being in the second head. So if I wanted to reduce Hugo down into a chibi character, I could easily just go, I would take these two right here and I would draw him within these two squares, and his head would go here and his body would go here. Right? So that's how you can convert big Hugo into chibi Hugo. Now there's some more like nuance that goes to that, like limbs and things like they all have like certain things that you need to do to make it work, but in general that's what you would do.
Mm-hmm.
Is the music still okay, by the way? I know Ella said it was fine, but I want to make sure it wasn't too loud. So that's the proportions, and then down here this is hips and legs and feet. Right. Hugo has generally he has kind of big feet for who he is. They're not like gigantic, but they're kind of larger. I usually depict them that way. So that's his proportions there. Now, when we get to that, and we're going to get to drawing him in a second, but I wanted to kind of give you the Hugo science first, so you understood how that worked. I'm assuming the music is not loud. I know I keep asking you guys. I get obsessed with it, but I want to make sure it's not distracting. No one said anything, so I'm going to assume everything's okay. Now, the next thing when we get to his hair. Now, I put this a while back, but actually his hair design has been changing a bit because this turned out to be too complicated. Not only for me, but for a lot of people to draw, believe it or not, because it's very difficult to draw the swoop. And I really try not, like, I was like, it's even hard for me sometimes, even when I draw this, right? So, classic Hugo, you can draw him this way. I've started drawing him more like what you're seeing in these drawings, like here with this, like, floof on the top of his head, because it's really easy, right? And it still accomplishes what I want. And the same with this one here. Sometimes I'll draw him with the, like, swooped over to the side, but it's quite frankly easier. In fact, what was so funny was that this Hugo, I used to rarely draw this side of him right here because this was actually more difficult. And so I would flip the part depending on which way he looked. I cheated a lot by doing that. But that's me admitting.
So this is what this art lesson is. If you can't draw, cheat. That's what
right,
you should do.
And that's okay. That's okay to cheat. It's actually okay to cheat. Artists cheat all the time, you know? So that's okay to do that. But doing it in a way that people don't notice, of course, is the important part. Okay, so any questions before we start going into drawing Hugos together? I mean, if you guys have any questions about like his general design, he doesn't, you know, he's generally, he's pretty lanky, so it's not going to be like, he's relatively easy to draw because of his body shape.
He's just like a stick. You could just draw Hugo's head and then a stick, and then you'd have Hugo.
Okay, so no questions. I'm gonna go in to start doing it. So one thing I want to show you, I found this great thing on Pinterest, and you did, Jacoby. I see your comment, and you did master his hair. I did notice that. I have to give you props for it because you did master his hair. But I want to give you a I want to show you something I found on Pinterest that really explains what I was showing the other day about. Remember the cube method that I used to draw heads? And I would do it, and I was like, I'd never have time to like stop and show it how it works. I'm going to show you here. I found this. This is not what I'm about to show you. Is not mine. I found it on Pinterest. I don't know who the artist is because there was no credit, but I'm going to show you this because this is a great example. So if you see this, I know this is kind of hard to see, and I can put this in Discord later. But this is the cube. This is what this is not a technical term. I just call it the cube method, where you use a cube first to determine where the head goes. And again, this is not my art. I didn't draw this, but this is a great reference. To help you decide where the positioning of the head is. So if we go into here, you can kind of see, obviously the picture that we were studying above is just a simple, straightforward. It's rare though. People don't normally, it's actually difficult to draw a straight on character because what you want to avoid is what we call like the Gemini effect, which is like, you don't want both halves to be the same. Like rarely do people's faces like have the same on both sides, so it looks weird if you just duplicate it on both sides. So anyway, so you can see here, if you look around here, like see this this one right here. Look at how this complicated head tilt is accomplished by creating the cube first and then drawing the head. And we'll go, and I'll do this a little later. I'll show you when I do my example, Hugo, how that works. But I wanted to just kind of show you this. And if anyone's interested in this, like I said, I'll share it on Discord. Okay, so let's get to drawing Hugo. So I'm going to start off with a very simple Hugo. We're just going to do a 3/4 view Hugo over here using this cube method, okay? By the way, if you're new here to YouTube and you're just joining me and Ella here on the stream, I'm Chris. I'm the creator of Flux Destiny. I've got Ella here with me, keeping me company. She's the our head of the RPG and our community at Flux Destiny. So she's here to also draw Hugo with us and to keep me on task.
The other side of good drawing. So I'm the Hugo Devil to Chris's Hugo Angel here, drawing wise.
Jade, yeah, everyone, that's why head-ons, I saw your comment about the head-ons. You shouldn't feel bad, everyone does that, you know, but once you learn, when you really start looking at that cube method I showed earlier, it will make your life so much better. So we're going to do now a 3/4 view of Hugo, and we're going to actually draw him right next door to this Hugo. And the way I'm going to draw it is, I'm going to start off, now I'm drawing on... If you're drawing digitally, this is easy, right? Because you can create a layer that has all this like framework, and then you can eventually just turn off that layer, right? It's a little more complicated when you're drawing a on paper, so you're gonna need to erase, right, and draw lightly with pencil. Hey, Drew. Hey, Chad. I'm just seeing you guys now. Okay, so let's start with, let me get the right size here. Make sure I got the right pencil size. Because if it's too thick, then, okay. So I'm gonna draw Hugo looking 3/4. We draw a little cube. Sometimes I get the cube right or wrong. I have to kind of keep fixing it here. And then what I do is I start drawing the lines. Now, Chad says I'm frozen. Am I frozen? You guys can see me, right? No? Oh,
You're not frozen to me.
Okay. So you'll see here I'm going to draw the middle line. This is where the middle of his head is going to be. Then I'm going to draw his the rest of his features. Now remember when we talked about his proportions, I can go ahead and divide this into thirds like this. See? Generally into thirds. This is the other, oops. So this is where his side of his head's going to be in his ear. All right, so now we've got the cube to draw his head in. Right? Oh, to answer your question, Liv, I like drawing with the pencil. Well, mine is in Photoshop, I just use the simple brush. It's like just a hard brush. That's it. Like I don't use a complicated brush when I'm doing this. When I'm doing drafting. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so we've got our cube here. It's a little bit wonky, but I'll work with it. And what's cool is if your cube is wonky in Photoshop, you can actually like distort it a little bit here. There we go. That's a little more cubey. There you go. Okay. So I'm gonna lower that opacity so you can see me drawing with it. Now I'm gonna draw Hugo's his skull. Now I'm drawing his skull within here. Oh, let me put a different color. Hold on. I should have put more calming music. I'm like nervous now.
This is very intense.
Let me change the music. Hold on a second, because I'm like sweating. Hold on, wait a second.
Chris, we all know that you'd be sweating anyway. It's okay.
I know, but I'm super sweating now. Hold on. This is too much. This is like I'm like shaking. Hold on. Let me put you know, I was like, why am I shaking? Look at this music. Hold on. Let me put you something a little less a little more chill. Hold on. Okay, hopefully this will work.
All I've learned right now is that I'm bad at drawing cubes. I mean, I've learned a lot about Hugo, but I mean about myself.
Well, this is all a discovery process, right? Okay. I'm hoping this will work. It says that it's non-copyright, so I hope that's the case. So. Okay. I hope that's a little more chill. Is that okay?
Yeah, now we're in the right headspace.
Okay, that's a little better. Sorry for the vibe was off. We were drawing this.
The vibe was off.
Yeah, we're gonna post this. This will be available here on YouTube, and then you know, so when it's over. Okay, so let's start drawing his head. I start drawing his head like this. I draw the skull in here like this, and I follow the line. So here's where his. Remember, what I should have done here is going back to this right here. This the cube. I can actually divide around here. This is, I don't know if you can see this line. This is where the nose and the eyes will be generally. Okay, going back to this. So I start drawing where his nose is going to be, about here. His jaw is about here. This section right here where the midline is, and this midsection right here, this is where his ear will go behind this. His ear goes behind this line, and he's got pretty big ears.
Grabbable, you might say.
They're grabbable ears. I'm really proud of my ear design. That's like, he's got big grabbable ears. So you put him right here. We draw the rest of his jaw. And now, let me open the, increase the opacity a little bit. So you can see the cube a little better here. When you're looking at the cube, where the cube is, now you can start putting in his eyes. So if we want to make him just put his eyes in here. And smile. And then now we're going to put the hairline. And this new thing I'm doing now that I really like to do, I didn't really do it here really well, but I like to do this. I like to make the back of the head do this now. There's a little square, like a little concave like indent in his head that I like to do, just to give it some variety so his head is not so, everything is so round. So I'm kind of drawing like a cutesy version of him right now, but I would normally, if I were to draw like an official Hugo, I would draw him more like this with the more angular features.
Mm-hmm.
This is just easier for you guys to draw as the more cute stuff. So I draw that. We've got his jaw here coming down the middle. And the thing to remember is that when you look at his face here, this line right here that turns into his nose and down, you can use this line. If I were to keep going and draw that, you can see where his lips are. And you can follow his chin down. You see like this, see? So if you're doing shadowing, or if you want to try to, that's where the contour of the front of his face is. Obviously, I don't leave that in there. And in fact, I often delete this part here when I'm drawing it. You don't see that. And I'm going to do a little lesson on the nose too in a second. And then, you put your eyes however you want to put them. Hold on. And I need to give you guys a lesson. Actually, let me give you a quick lesson on the eyes. Hold on. So if we look at the example here, what's that?
I was just gonna say that my Hugo kind of looks like he got hit by a car, but that's okay. It's not your teaching. I think it's my skill.
It is totally fine. If you notice, there's a couple ways that you can do his eyes. If you want to give him, the eyes have their own proportion. In this case, the reason why he's got kind of that really cute look is his eyes are big here. I've actually shrunk them in more recent versions of his design, where normally there's a whole eye between, right? So you could fit a whole eye between. Here you can fit about 75% of an eye, and that's how to tell the distancing. And it should go, the nose falls into that column too. So if I were to draw a guide here, it would be like this and like this, and you see how the nose fits within the column of that space. You could fit about, in this case, about 50 to 50, I would say about 50% of an eye you could fit here. But modern Hugo, the more cool Hugo, like the action Hugo, his eyes are smaller, and you could probably fit almost a full eye in between. And that's just normal. Like if you look at normal humans, I think, I can't see myself right now, but you could probably fit my full eye, like 3 eyes in a row. Is that right, Ella?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's generally how it works. That's right, Max. I don't know how I'm gonna draw that here, but we'll say that's duly noted. Hey, Ray. Okay, so let's go back to this little Hugo here. So once we do eyes, so let's say he's looking up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put the hair. Now the hair, like my world is fluffy hair. I think Ella put it really well today in a tweet. Like I deal with big fluff hair, right? So when I draw his hair, I usually do it like this. I actually use another cube when I do it to get it right. And you're going to be like, this will make your job easier once you learn it. I put another cube that's about a third. Remember when we took the third here from his head? Put another third, and it sticks out about this much. You don't have to do this. I do it because it helps me position the hair. You see how the other cube was kind of like right here? That was the ending of it. I draw another like pizza box on his head that's about a third of his skull height. And by doing that, this is kind of the proportions of his hair. So it's pretty fluffy, right? It's pretty big.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lower that here again so we can hide that. And now I'm going to draw his hair. Hey, Jess, I just noticed you're here too. I didn't see you.
I said hi to Jess earlier.
Oh, well, I was busy having a
being teacher.
existential crisis with that like crazy music playing. That was insane.
That was pretty crazy.
Okay, so when we do the hair, if we want to go back and study, I know, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I'm sorry. I didn't see you. I'm sorry. I don't see who's here except who's in the chat. So whenever I see a chat show up, it doesn't show me a list of people. I can't see who's here. Okay. Let's go look at his hair here in this model, which is my favorite model. If you look at this, like I said earlier, it's about a third, right? Like this hair fits in about a third. And it's really if you draw it, you can even see how I drew it by drawing that pizza box around it. You can see how I drew his hair to size. Like it's almost like you can see the rectangular shape of it.
Mm.
So when I go here to draw his hair, and now I kind of draw it flopped forward. This is kind of like, I don't know how to explain this. You're just gonna have to watch me draw it. So it's like this. Can you see that? So you see how it fits in the square? And Hugo, canonically, his hair is like really unruly. It's really big. And so he has a hard time keeping it under control. And
so there are no wrong answers with
there's
hair.
really no wrong answers. I mean, my preference is to do, if you want to make him like either dramatic or dressed up like he's going to a dance or something, you'd probably push his hair back like this, right? In the new version. But in the in a normal sense, it's like this floofy. And if I were to follow through the lines here, you can actually see the hair flopped over. If I were to draw these lines, look right here. See these lines right here? If I were to follow where these are, you can see it. See? All I've really done is eliminated the lines. And so it looks like just one big piece.
Yeah.
But you know, it helps you realize that they're still there. It's just been eliminated. And so I've been trying to take the feedback from people having a hard time and myself having a hard time drawing that hair.
Okay. Yeah, my Hugo's kind of Hugoing.
Is it working?
Yeah, a little.
Okay, so while Ella is like, I'm excited. I like to see that it's working for you. That's awesome.
I was really nervous. It's doing better.
Hey, listen, even the creator is nervous, okay? Because I'm like, I don't like drawing live, like fresh stuff. Mm-hmm. So let's study a couple of different things. Oh, hey, Joe. I see Joe's here, Katie's here, Josh is here after his very triumphant day on game night yesterday. I'm still like that. That is still the scandal of that rigged game is still, you know, reverberating. Oh, Drew, believe me, this is not easy. I'm even like cringing at my own drawing. So, but when I get to the part of cleaning him up, he'll look like, you'll see how, for me at the level that I draw now, I don't need the lines to look really good, the sketches, because I need them to be more like guides, because when I clean up, any mistakes or stuff, they kind of go away as part of that. Okay, so let's do his ears. Let's do a little study on the ears. So when I draw the ears, Hugo's ears and all the characters in Flux Destiny work like this. You obviously draw an oval shape for the ear like this, like so. And then I like to make them thick, like well, no, actually, hold on. Let me erase all this crap in here so you can see it. I do not do that thick anymore. I used to, but that contributed to him looking super cartoony. What I do is about this much, and I draw it about here. So there's this line, this contour that goes through. And then we do the little flap. I forget what this thing is called. It has a technical word. I don't know what you call it. So they're kind of like, so Joe, the thing about the detached lobes, it's interesting you say that. I only draw this thing, the lobe here, when I need to put an earring. And normally it's only Kazuo, or because he's got the big gauges in his ears. So if I were to draw Kazuo, I would go as far as to draw this right here, and I would put a gauge. That's what I would do. So, sorry, Katie, I'm trying to remember all my own rules because they're kind of like a secret recipe. It's like the Colonel's 26 herbs and spices or whatever, right? Like this is like something I don't write down. So I'm giving you my secrets. So once you've drawn this, then you draw this one. This is my trademark, okay? This is Chris's trademark ears. I draw this little contour right here, which is it's kind of a cheat. Instead of drawing all the complex curves in your ear, I draw that, and then what I do is I do this now. I put a little darkened area here to be the hole. You see that?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Now, depending on the position of his head, you won't necessarily see that hole. So it really just depends. I'm just kind of cheating it here. I don't think you would really see it in this angle because his head is the way I see your comment, Katie, and it's like you are awful. Like you are. I'm like. All of you are the worst. Like you are.
Said it like 4 times.
You are the worst. I'm sorry. This is like on the spot. Anyway, by the way, if there's anyone, hello to anyone who's new, who's joining us. I'm Chris. I know I've introduced already, but in case you're new, creator of Flex Destiny, and I've got Ella here, who's the head of our RPG and community, and so we are just learning how to draw Hugo together, and I am apparently making up rules as I go. So anyway, once we oh, and of course I have to say, I have to make a plug for Flux Fantasy. If you haven't signed up for our RPG, it's totally free to sign up for the character sheets and stuff. You need to go to fluxfantasy.com. Look, I even have a fancy little graphic at the bottom. You go to fluxfantasy.com. You can sign up for the free character sheets and the character guide, and you need to jump on our Discord and join us because we're having a great time creating OCs together. So, anyway, so we got his ear done. Now let's go to his nose. And let me give you a lesson on the nose. To me, I only do. Hey Wes. I like to do characters like, usually when they're like teenage characters, I usually give them just the youthful nose. Usually they all kind of share that. This is just my style. I do kind of the same nose. As if they get older, as they're into like, you know, past their 30s or so, sometimes I'll give them way more defined noses and shapes. And that's just kind of a general rule you'll see like in anime and things like that. I just follow the same. Although I don't think Hugo's nose would be very different as an adult, in his 20s or something. So he's got this kind of like turned up button nose, and it kind of goes like this. And the way I figure where the nostrils are is I kind of draw this little triangle like this. So if you draw this shape here, that's how you're gonna know. His nose is kind of just slightly like a button nose. It's kind of like pushed up just a little bit. And then you can draw the nostrils right here, see? And that triangle's not meant to stay there. It's just meant to be a guide. So when I clean him up, that will go away. So we can actually, so see, when I take away that, you can kind of see that. And you don't have to draw the face I drew. If you want to draw him with an angry face or a, you know, not a smile, I'm just drawing kind of typical, easy, you know, grinning Hugo.
Grinning.
Your Hugo looks like a monkey. Snaps would like that. Snaps would like that. Actually, when Snaps was working with me to do some those costume designs, his first ones were very, very like monkey heavy themed. Like, and I was like, his ears were like super big, and I think he was trying to push his monkey propaganda. into my art. So we had to have a talk about that. I kept the ears that he was putting were like this big, like they were really big. But that's his trademark, you know. That's his trademark, which I like. There's a reason why I commissioned him, is because I really like his arts. Okay, so with that said, here's a little rule about the mouth. The mouth generally, unless you're doing some sort of like extreme reaction, normally the mouth doesn't go beyond like the middle of the mouth, the middle of the eyes. So you see this kind of like, hold on, let me do a better job of this. If I were to contour his face here, his cheek would be like about here, see? And the cheek would be here. And so around the middle of the eye is where it would be. So if you need a, you need a guide of where that is, that's where you would do it. It's generally around there. In fact, here I probably put his mouth a little too big. Yeah, I like some of the cute monkey drawings and stuff, and I think that some of those, like, I like some elements of it, and I think that if you like, the ear size is one of those things that contributes to it if it's too big, and also like the smaller nose and stuff. So I like keeping just a little bit of that in there, but like, otherwise, you know, that it start looking not human, you know. Okay, so now with that done, we can start working on his eyes. And in this one, he's kind of looking up. Got him looking up here. Now, in the style that I draw, I normally use, it's not eyeliner, but I call it eyeliner. It's just like I make the top line here and the one here on the back of the eye. I highlight those, I thicken those in, and it makes the eye pop out.
Oh yeah, now he's sassy. This is going well.
Is it going well?
Yeah, well, kind of. As well as it could be.
Guy liner, yes, guy liner. Okay, now, usually you can put the, if we look at his normal example, I normally use pretty small pupils. They're not super big, but this is kind of how the typical shape that I draw his eyes in. So they're not really gigantic. In fact, if you want to do a stylized version of him, you don't have to draw the pupil. You could just leave it like this if you want to.
Oh, drawing the pupils made my Hugo look very worried.
Oh.
Giving him sight was not a good idea.
I will put them here just for the sake of, like, since I've been accused of like following or not following my own rules, I'm just gonna do this. And actually, I'm gonna erase these eyebrows because I'm gonna give you a lesson on flux eyebrows. Now, what I usually do when I do the eyes is that I will do this. I put a little detail in the eyes, just enough to give a little like depth to them. So sometimes I will do this, like I'll put this little line here, like where the eyelid is, the bottom eyelid. And then I will also usually put something here. I'll usually put a contour here and here. You don't have to do that. That's just when I'm... And then for the eyebrows, now the way I construct the eyebrows is I have to... Let me draw it first, then I'll explain it, because it's hard to say how it works exactly, but... Oops, that's too high. Hold on. Usually there's this like little triangle in the front here. You can kind of see it here like this. There's a triangle here that leads the back of it, and this eye needs to follow, the eyebrow needs to follow the contour of because remember, if I were to draw the rest of the socket here, see, here's his socket, right? And if you know where the eye sockets are, you know how to follow the contour of the eyebrow. Excuse me, the eyebrow follows the contour of the eye socket. And this new kind of thing I'm doing now is I kind of put this little flourish where I put like 1 or 2 little hairs here. I add like 1 or 2 just because it's fun to do. So now we've got generally a Hugo face. I might have made it a little too round. That up a bit. Okay, so we've got okay. Does that make sense? That looking good so far? How's yours looking, Ella?
He's all right. I think that you could tell that it was Hugo, maybe. If you could guess between, like, 2 characters only, and one of them was, like, an elephant or something, then I think we would know if this one was Hugo.
Oh my god. Okay. I can't wait to see your...
He definitely looks okay. I drew too small. I drew him too tiny. Because I did it really tiny, and so it was hard to get good details in there.
Well, it's an excuse now for you to try different positions of his head. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Drew. See, she's Drew just gave you an out, Katie. Ella. It's Hugo, so it's always good. So it doesn't matter how you're drawn.
Aww.
See. Okay,
I gotta
so
remember that.
Now we're gonna start. Let me do a couple of adjustments to his hair real quick, just to clean it up a little bit. And what I like to do is I usually like on the hair going back to it real quick. Actually didn't. Let me clean this back part up real quick. I actually didn't do the back of this really too well. What I normally do is I have one or two flyers out like this. Oops, I don't know if you can see that now. Usually like this, so it's kind of like usually like that. I like to draw small too. Sometimes if I try to draw too big, for some reason it all falls apart, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because if you think about it, when I blow it up on my screen to draw it, it's technically big. But for whatever reason, if I try to draw Hugo too big, the whole like Hugo physics starts falling apart. Okay.
The Hugo physics.
It does. It's like you start going from like relativity to like, what's it? Special relativity to like Newtonian physics or whatever. Like that's what starts happening with Hugo and his designs. So when I start turning off these cubes, you can start seeing, where's the cube? There we go. You can start seeing the shape come together. You can start seeing him. And if I were to draw this as like a, if this were to be an official art, I would probably make a few adjustments to this a little bit. Like I would, I don't want to do that here because then you're like, I don't want to confuse you. But for me as the creator, I see certain things and I'm like, oh, that's off. I want to fix it, but in general, just as a quick sketch, this is okay. So now that we've got this, are there any questions before we start going on to the body? See, like, for example, his head here is a little too big. If I were to redo this, I would probably do something like this. A little more square. Oh, Ella sent me her Hugo. Hold on. That's really cute, actually. Can I show it?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Ella's Hugo. So, hold on a second. I'm going to paste
my
it
very pencil sketched. Yeah, he is Hungo.
So here's Ella's Hugo. Hungo. That's not bad, actually. That's not bad.
His eyes are sad.
It's sad, but I can see how you I can see how you followed, like the proportions and everything are really good.
Thank you. I tried really hard. He's tiny. You can see how little.
I
I
can
made him
tell
a
how
bit.
tiny he is.
Yeah.
I can tell. If you were to fix it, the only thing I would do is what I would do to fix it if you want a clinic is that I would see, here's where his nose should probably be about here. And then the eyes are generally following it, but you would probably push, this eye is traveling too far off onto the side, and this eye I would push a little bit this way. That's what I would do.
Okay.
That's what I would do to fix it. But otherwise, it's like really well done.
Thank you. Okay, I'll try.
That's
it's hard.
Cute. That was really cute.
Do you really like him? That's good.
That's very cute. Believe me, I have seen, like, it's hard. He's not easy to draw into because of those proportions.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, the fixes kind of helped a little bit, I think.
Yeah, see, once you know, like, you go back to Hugo physics, right? Once you start going to here and start looking at how he works, how his construction works. And by the way, for your own characters, you should do this, right? Like, this is something you should do for your own characters. On developing the rules, that's what makes them consistent. It's like a blueprint. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you know what the blueprint is, like, for example, when we brought Nix on our team to join as one of our concept designers, I sent him this material. I said, here's the recipe, my 25 herbs and spices to make the perfect Hugo. Like, this is how you make his head, right? And a lot of it is in the head, because that's what people look at for the most part. So if you get that right, you're pretty good. Even mine's kind of, if I were to adjust this, like, now taking this, I'll show you how I'll clean it up. If anyone else wants to share their Hugos and wants to share it on the stream, put it in the Discord and in the Discord.
In the Discord.
In the Discord. I sound like 70 years old. Put it in the Discord and we'll share it. So now that he's here, let me just quickly clean him up. Oh, I'm sorry, Liv. I'm sorry you're hurting. I hope you feel better. I'm glad you got to come by. So let's quickly clean up his head. So if I were to... Oops. Sorry, I didn't realize it was off the thing. So I have to give Ella credit because all these live streams she makes me do has gotten me out of my fear of drawing live. Fear of sketching live. It's not drawing. I used to clean up all the time, but I was always like apprehensive about sketching live, and so I got to give Ella credit for that. She's like, get out there and do it.
Yeah, that's what I say. And then he sends a sad cat picture back at me.
I sent you some good ones today.
Nobody believes me. Like, I keep saying that that's what he does, is I'll send him something really serious, and then he'll send me a cat picture back. And they're like, how many cat pictures does he send a day? And I'm like, probably like 30 or 40.
And I gave her an estimate. I looked through my library today to find out how many cat pictures did I have? Like 1,700 or something?
Yeah.
So then we're going to go here and clean up the eyebrows. I'm doing a pretty rough cleanup. I'd normally do something a little more clean than this. But... Fix the forehead a little bit here. I was about to like slack you on the side, Ella, and tell you to call me an ambulance when we were listening to that music earlier. I was like, I am.
You were panicking. I could see it.
Yeah, I was like, something is wrong with me. I think there's a philosophical reason for that, probably. I saw what you did there, Drew, with the pun, the cat pun. I don't think we have Thomas here, who's our king of puns. And so I will let him know that you did him proud. So let me just quickly finish here. This, and again, if you decide you want to do like a character who has more pronounced earlobes, you can. I love drawing the hairline. And then we're going to clean up the hair here. And, you know, a lot of people get too caught up in the hair being very literal, you know, like they try to draw. A lot of people, hey Jade, welcome back. A lot of people get way too caught up with the hair being, and they try to draw every strand of hair, and that's the first thing you'll learn when you're drawing, at least this particular style of character art, is the hair. You do it in shapes. You don't do it in, like, I'm not sitting here drawing every strand of Hugo's hair. Like that's what's gonna make it not look right.
Mm-hmm.
So all I'm doing is being natural and having fun with this floofy hair he's got here. So now I'm gonna do like this. And sometimes if you wanna be, I call these, sometimes I'll do this. I'll put a little hair like this. I call these like sincerity hairs. Hold on, I put it too far back. If you want to make like it dramatic, you'll make the hair like you can make one hair fall out of place and go there. That's what you can do. Okay, so we generally have Hugo's head here. Yeah, that's right, Joe. Like the detail, that's actually a great point. If we go to that Hugo, this one right here, this is a great example. You can see that when I drew this Hugo, this particular one, like if I were to draw over it, you can see the, like this kind of wild shape that, like for this one I have, that I just cleaned up, you can see that here. It's this kind of like wild floof on his head. And then all this other stuff in here is just shading, right? So you've got this like highlight layer right here, which creates this bright area here. And then you'd put a couple of little shadows in here to add depth. And it's actually tritone here because you've got this one, which is the darkest. This is the, you know, where it floops over his head and then it's obscured by the light doesn't reach it. And then you've got this midsection here with just a little touch of light here to give it depth. And then you've got this chunk of hair right here that transitions between it. So you can see the division between the two. So these are little tricks that you can do to do that. And you can see back here, I had a lot of fun with the little flyaways. Those are my favorite. I love doing those. Those are like, for me, like doing the flyaways is, I don't allow myself to do that. If you want to know a rule, Katie, that I don't break? You want to know a rule I don't break? I don't draw the flyaways until I've gotten the hair right. That's like my reward. Okay?
Why is that your favorite part?
Not break that rule. What's that?
And why is that your favorite part? It's such a weird favorite part to have.
I don't know. It's just kind of like, I feel like there's a lot of personality. I mean, this is just me, but I feel like there's a lot of personality in the little flyaways, you know, because it's like, as much as he's trying to control his hair, he can't, right? Because it's like big and fluffy and a mess. And I think that if he didn't put any product in it, it would be like super like wavy and standing up. Like, you know, it would be, so he's got to put product in it to make it look like that. And so it's a minor symbolism, and it's not like something that's really like, oh my God, that's so deep. But it's kind of like he's not able to control everything about himself. He wants to keep his appearance. He's trying to look cool because his haircut is actually... Oh, wait, have I revealed that yet? Oh, yeah, I did reveal it, right? The source of his haircut? Okay, yeah, I did. So his haircut is fashioned from his favorite escape artist, One Hit Wonder, who has the same haircut, right? And so Hugo wants to be like his hero, so he has his haircut like that. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of fun. What do I know?
Lots a lot about Hugo. I thought it was fun.
Okay, back here. Any questions? Anyone want to share their Hugos? Anybody?
I don't see any on the Discord, but oh, okay, here's one.
Oh, you have one? Aw. Certified adorkable. Certified. While I'm waiting for that, I'll show you guys now how to draw like the other parts of his body. So if we were to do the neck kind of connects, I like to draw, like you could draw a cylinder like this. Okay. Oh, Katie sent hers in the mod channel, she said. Here we can draw his chest. Normally I draw it as if he were an actual like action figure. Like I draw him in pieces like this. So we got the armholes here. We've got the this chest piece, and I will draw the contour of his chest so we can know where it is. Ella, I don't know if you heard me, but she said she put it in the mod channel.
Yeah, I'm grabbing it.
Okay. Okay, so we've got his body here. And then I normally put, oh, hold on. I want to see what Katie did. I'll put the circles here for the shoulders. Let's see what Katie drew. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Where's Ella's? We got to put them next to each other. Hold on. So here's Katie's, and here's Ella's. I'm gonna put them all these next to each other. One second. Oh, and we got another one. Who's the other one?
Ray.
Ray drew it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Katie and Ella, and it does. I think Boofy would like that. Oh, and then we've got Heartthrob by Ray.
I think Katie did a better job with the 3/4. I couldn't quite get the 3/4. I don't think I put it all the way.
Well, it's not the idea is not to copy me exactly, right? It's like to use the method to create your own version. So yours is not wrong. Yours isn't wrong. You did it.
I got you.
What's that?
I said it's just worse. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing the words.
I didn't say that.
I'm just kidding.
I didn't say that. Okay, what are the proportions for the chest I heard? Oh, and then here's Ray's real quick. Let me show Ray's. Look. We got Heartthrob Hugo over here.
I like the little person with the hearts.
What's that?
I like the little caricature with the hearts looking up at Hugo. That's so cute.
Oh, I didn't see the heart eyes. Look. And they managed to do it while cleaning their room. Isn't that?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. Josh, did you draw Hugo? Did you do a Hugo? Okay, so let's go to the rest of this. Let me move this Hugo down up a little bit so we can kind of match him here so you can see. Okay. So This should actually be a little longer, to be honest with you. The chest cavity. I mean the rib cage should be a little bit longer.
So you make a box for the head, but the rest you just sort of feel it out.
The box, you can actually use the boxes for the body too. I don't do it unless it's like a complicated pose, because I could absolutely sit here and draw cubes, and that's actually a good way to do it. I don't have to, because I kind of know how the rest of the body works, but if I were to draw it with cubes, I'll show you here how to look on. Let me fix this real quick. One sec. You know, it's funny, Liv said she had a headache. Ella and I have headaches too today, so.
It's got to be the weather,
I think it is, yeah.
Where people get like headaches all at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, tweet it. Tweet it. We'll grab it. Okay, so if I were to do, so Ella was asking about the cubes. You could absolutely do shapes on this. So if I were to draw shapes on here, what I would do is something like this. So, you know, you'd have the cylinder for the neck, which generally is about this thick. I don't know what to call the size. It's not like, I just eyeball it. I don't know what I would call that size. It's probably half the size of his head. And then depending on the position of his shoulder, like if he's like slouching down, you could draw this kind of shape. I would draw it kind of like this, which is, he's not in the best posture right now. This is where here if he was shirtless, you'd probably put the nipples right here. And then the shoulders would go here in this block. And then we draw the abdomen here, which the abdomen I draw squishy because it really moves around depending on what's the position he's in. And then you draw the hips from there. I'm not going to draw full body Hugo today on this thing, but I just want to show you like the top part, how that would work. Okay, so let's draw the rest of his. So we do about this. This is about as thick as it gets here. See, and if there were a shadow, there probably would be a shadow around here because this is where his pecs kind of like create a shadow. So if you wanted to know where the shadow on the shirt would be, it would be here, around here. And then this is where the rib cage ends, and then we start getting into the abdomen here, and then the belly button would be about here. Oh, you can't see it. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the belly button, so
Because
we should be able to see it.
Oh, were you
I'm
being
just
sarcastic?
kidding.
Oh,
yes.
I cannot sense sarcasm with you guys. What's wrong with me? Since when did I lose my social cues? Like, I used to be better at that. I think I'm trying not to be cynical and like take people for being like honest and sincere, but apparently I'm being too generous. So, I need to stop that. So if you were to like, so the important thing is to know if you're doing this right is that you have to follow from the neck down. So if you were to like map out like, okay, here's where his Adam's apple would be, and then you trace the line down this way to the curvature in his the middle of his sternum, down into where his belly button is, and then that's the top. So okay, I'm glad to hear I'm not the only one who's that way. So once you have this general general top part. And I saw this great thing on how to draw arms one time that if you almost see them like links in a chain. If you go to my, if you go to fluxdestiny.world, at the bottom of that link tree, it'll take you to the link tree. At the bottom, there's a link to the Pinterest with all my references. And you should check that out because I've been collecting all these really cool references that are available to, they're not like, they're completely, I even think the head shapes, this thing that I showed you earlier, where is it? This, I think it's on there. I think it's in my Pinterest that I saved. These will help you a lot. In fact, you could use these and like make them transparent and draw over them on a separate layer if you needed help to kind of figure out the position. So this is a really good reference to have. Now this is not a very dynamic pose. He's just kind of standing there slouching. But if I were to do something dynamic, because I'm not gonna, for the ease of drawing, I'm just kind of drawing him like he's just like standing there. But if I were to draw something more dynamic, so let's let me draw some clothes on him. So with that in place, actually his neck is a little off. It's not thick enough. Hold on a second. I just realized it. Something is wrong. Hold on. Something is wrong. I think I need to move his body a little bit. Okay, there we go. That's what's wrong. I needed to push his body forward a little bit. Hold on. And the neck. Go here. Okay, that's better.
Whoa, watch out, old man. Don't cough so hard.
Anyway, I'm now going to draw some clothes on him. Let's draw a shirt. Well, all right, what do you guys want? A t-shirt, a hoodie? I'll let you pick in the chat. You pick in the chat what you want. You guys pick. You see the respect I get around here? I mean,
sorry, it came out of me. Just possessed me for a moment.
Yeah, I think so. Look, and they're encouraging you. Like, yeah, what the hell? Okay, t-shirt. I gotta vote for a t-shirt. Okay, I can do a t-shirt, tank top, or hoodie. You guys pick. Of course, I knew Josh was gonna say tank top. So we got tank top, t-shirt. Put in your votes because we're gonna select. It is
summer, you know.
It is summer, so. But it's tied. I need someone to break not a bra. Hoodie, come on. We got to break the tie. So it looks like tank top, hoodie because the fans are too thirsty. Yeah, maybe we need to be a little, I'll draw different ones so you can see the different ones. So let's start with the easiest, which is the shirt. If I were to draw a t-shirt, I would just simply follow this contour here to create the this. We'll draw the tank top next. Now you see this line right here where his arm joins the shoulder here. I usually use that as the a normal t-shirt like that. Like if you study t-shirts, you see the threading here, the stitching. Like you can see on me where the stitching is here. I follow that when I draw a t-shirt. So I follow that line here. So here he is with a t-shirt. And it'll just kind of hang here. That's the t-shirt version. And if I wanted to do a tank top, which I know that's what you all are here for, we do this. Hold on. Let me start over. It's not right. usually dips lower, and then you follow the contour a little outside, like it doesn't follow the shoulder is gonna pop out of here, so you want to draw it a little like this. And then this is where usually if you're wearing a tank top, it's going to be more form-fitting. So that's why it's important to draw the body so you know where his where your character's shapes are. So here, like, you can see where his chest is. And if I were to draw, actually this line needs to fix. See, using this line right here, the one I drew earlier where the middle of his body is, that's where you're going to draw the middle of the curve of the open collar. And then here is, you can draw if your character has some is fortunate enough to have abs, you can put a little bit of that in there. And then usually the shoulders kind of like that's how that works. And thanks. Thanks, Rio. So now if we want to do a hoodie, I like doing hoodies for a number of reasons, just because they're fun to draw, and they're also, if you've made mistakes in your anatomy, you can hide them with a hoodie. So yeah, very big and baggy.
In real life and in drawings.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely right. So,
just kidding. Everybody is beautiful, and
everyone is beautiful. Everyone is beautiful. Sure. Okay. So this is how I draw a hoodie. So remember that center line on his body? Everything you need to reference those. Those are common points you reference when drawing, because if your art is not looking right, it's because you're not using these anchor points, right? And the anchor point in the middle is how we determine the orientation of the hood on the hoodie. So when I draw this general shape, and I usually draw like these big shapes. So here, you see this is where the hood would meet the center here. And then it would go back like this. Big shapes like this. And some hoods can get really complicated. Like you can get some really, like, if you wanted to draw a complicated hood, you draw like this, like a multi-layered one. It would be like this. See, because this part, the hood is actually this, and this is the kind of the cowl of the hoodie.
Hugo is Batman.
Hugo Batman.
2024.
We could give him the Robin. Hold on, let's give him the Robin. We give him the Robin mask.
He looks good.
He does look good with that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me do this.
Aww.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put I'm gonna do Robin style eyes. Hold on. Hugo auditioning to be the new Robin.
I love it. He would, despite all of his amazing abilities and powers, I think that he would die pretty quickly in Gotham. I think that he would like jump off of a building or something and just like.
Okay, what is this now, Josh? What are you saying? Don't add hearts to my tank top. I didn't do it. Give it a ring. Make it a summer flux ring. A summer themed Taurus for a very cute. But Chris did not. I just saw it, but I don't know how to like draw a summer themed Taurus. What would that look like?
it has like flowers on it. Well, I have a question, Chris. Does the Taurus affect how you draw Hugo if he's like wearing it or not? Because like, does he like, is it heavy? Does he slouch more, or is he always just like,
You
you
know,
know?
that's actually a really good question. It's actually a really good question with it. And I do take that into account. The Taurus is heavy, as you can imagine. We actually did a calculation the other day. I don't think Thomas is on here, but Thomas helped calculate what the weight of a Taurus would be based on the. Did you see that, Ella, in the chat?
Yes, I did. I did, and I scrolled right past it because it was math, and
It
I
was lots of
did not
math,
look
and
at it.
what was crazy about it was that it was really heavy after he did the math. Like taking the weight of gold and doing like a titanium alloy with it, it was something like 20 something pounds, right? And you cannot in real life, like that would hurt to have something 20 pounds hanging from your chest, right? That would definitely affect it. Obviously, we have to do some like hand wavy explanation as to why Tauruses don't weigh that much. They are heavy, but they're not 20 pounds heavy like a clockwork escape artist like Hugo would wear. If I were to draw it on him, let me do this. I'll show you. I would, the way I do it is depending on what outfit he's wearing. If he's wearing his school uniform and it has the cowl, you know, around his neck, I would draw the cowl first. And I would think that there might even be like escape artist scoliosis syndrome or something from like how heavy
Man,
those
yeah,
are, you know?
yeah. We're writing it in right now.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
Just invented something.
Joe, I think that's like actually right, because I mean, to carry these things around your neck, you'd have to be, honestly. Hold on, let me fix this. So to draw the little cowl, I do something like this, this kind of shape. Okay, and with the center of the cowl being right here. So knowing where the cowl is, I can draw the Taurus. And what I normally do is I'll put the Taurus on its own layer. Now you see how his chest is here, because he's scrawny, right? His the Taurus will lay pretty flat here on his chest. And we actually did the math the other day to figure out the actual width of his Taurus. His Taurus is about exactly 11 inches long, if you were to look at it in real life. So that's how big the Taurus is in terms of diameter. Its diameter is 11 inches. With a center, with the tube length, the tube thickness of the ring, probably about, I think we figured like 1.5 inches. So when you factor that in here, and what I do is I hide it under, you see where the cowl ends here? I hide it under the cowl, so this part doesn't exist, right? Because it's hidden under the cowl. So that's how I usually do it. And it's important when you're drawing a Taurus to like draw the full circle and then erase the parts you don't need. Because if you don't, it'll look wonky, right? Normally, I normally cheat the Tauruses when I draw them. I don't normally draw them by hand. I usually use like circle tools to draw them to make them look better, because otherwise they're like egg-shaped and screwed up. So, any questions? I hope that's helping. This was kind of like fun and therapeutic. Let me give you like this last little lesson real quick. Just last little tidbit is how I do the shading. So when I shade Hugo's head, if I were to just do default shading, let me do this 1 second. I'm gonna do another layer here, and I'm gonna do it in red. Let me turn off this. Okay. I like to do and again, this is default shading, so you have to think about the source of your light. but I normally draw this little rectangle. If this was just normal lighting, I draw this little rectangle under his chin. Not rectangle, like triangular shape under his chin. And you can see it. You see it here. You can see it in this drawing. You can see it actually here, even in the front, you can see it. And you can even see it kind of here on this one. You can see it right here, right? And what I default to whenever I'm doing his shading is that I will also do a little shade right here under his nose. I'm going to actually reduce the opacity a little bit so it's not strong. Let me increase this here. We'll do this. Hold it under his nose. You totally forgot because you were so enamored with me talking that you forgot about the music, right? Okay, then what I do with the ear, I fill in, there's actually two-tone shading I do. I fill in the whole ear with like the lighter, and I have the Hugo, the official Hugo palette. If anyone's interested in the palette, I'll drop it into Discord. And it has the tones, the different tones. But I do a darker tone for this inner part right here, this little part. This is the Chris secret. This is the Chris trademark, okay? This is when you know it's a Chris ear, when it has this design and it has this level of shading. Now, if you want to get like fancy and you want to get like dramatic, you can start doing shading on the eyes and around the face. Like sometimes I'll do this. Sometimes I'll put a little shade on the eye like this, right above the eyelid like this. Sometimes I'll put a little where his lip, the bottom of his lip would be. I'll put a little bit here. See that? And now you're seeing him come to life more like what you know him. You just color in his, hold on.
So you're saying if we don't see this kind of shading on a character, we know you're being lazy. Is that what?
Thanks for the encouragement.
Well, that's what you just said. You said, if I want to get fancy, you know?
Well, no, that's, it's contextual. It matters on the context of what you're doing. Like if you want there to be, if you want the character to look, it depends on what the scene is or what you're trying to accomplish, right? Like a normal scene, if Hugo just sitting, you know, I'll just do normal shading. But if we need to be dramatic, we'll do more dramatic shading, you know?
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or if you want to just like be more detailed about it, you know, that's just kind of how I do it here. Okay. And then finally, if you want to do some on the hair, if you want to be fancy on the hair, you can start. What I normally do, this is assuming the light is coming down. You know, you can put shading here on like this. And then what you do is you're just going to continue the shade like this. You don't have to do this. This is just if you want to give some more depth to the...
You're right, though. It really does bring him to life.
It does, right? It makes a big difference when you start adding all that. I try not to overdo it with the shading unless I'm going to do a dramatic, something dramatic like the Flux Fantasy Hugo drawing, because it's like, it's easy. You'll spend forever shading every little thing, and I'm like by no means like amazing at it. I just use default skills with it. So, you know, if I sat here and I just played around with the shading, it would absolutely change the feel of this. And then what you could do is on the shaved part of his head, you can put a little bit here and follow the contour of where the undercut is. And sometimes what I do too is I'll put on the eye, I will actually put I don't know if you can see this on the. Can you see this on the screen? Yeah. I put a really light. Hold on, I screwed that up. I put a really light shade here on the eyeball, like this, that makes it a little more 3D.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually official colors for that in his palette that you can pull from. And then the final touch would be to put the eye flare. You know, usually the eye flare is like the, you know. Oh, Drew sent one. Is it in my DMs, Drew? Let me look it up and I'll share it. So you see this little flare here? We can put a little flare here on the eye. Now, my rule with doing the eye, I call them flares, whatever you shine, whatever you want to call it. Whenever you do, my rule for the flare is that I always put it the opposite direction that he's looking. You don't have to do that, but you see he's looking this way, and so I put the flares on the other way. All right, let's see what Drew did. Let me grab his drawing so we can share that. One sec. So, any questions? Did you guys enjoy that? Let me get.
I did.
That was fun, right?
Yeah, that was fun. I honestly, I'm not to say that I didn't believe in you teaching, because I totally did. I did not believe in my own skills of drawing, and it came out okay. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it really did. You really. I don't think you're giving yourself credit. Okay, and look. So I'm going to share what Drew did. And Drew even fit in a Devil Hugo in here too.
Aww.
These are cute. Hold on, let me zoom out. Those are super cute. Look at that. We even got a Devil Hugo in there. Which I need to get back to him. He's gonna do he was wanting to do a Devil Hugo art, and it completely. I'm so sorry with everything going on. I forgot to respond to your Devil Hugo art, and I need to do it. So he was gonna do that. See, these are sunburnt. He drew a sunburnt one there too. These are cute. They're just super cute.
What I love is that all of them, like all of our styles might be a little bit different, but like it's definitely still Hugo, you know, no matter what.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. That's what I'm saying is that even though it was different, it's still good, you know?
Yeah.
It's still good. That's like when you look at good fan art, you can tell, hold on, let me put these together. When you look at everyone's different works here, you can tell that it's Hugo. It's just in different styles, right? So
yeah.
But you can tell it's him, and that's kind of like when you're creating a character. I've noticed in anime a lot. Like there's a lot of like anime protagonists who sometimes they're technically the same character, right? Like they're technically the same design, but there's some flourish about their design. Like one of my favorite protagonists is Rin from Blue Exorcist, right? If you've ever seen Blue Exorcist, he has kind of the standard anime teenager protagonist like shape and hair, but there's things about his smile and about his eyes that you can tell it's him. And when he's drawn that way, and of course he's got the ears that sometimes are showing, you know, so adding your own little thing with Hugo, I think it's his hair, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's how people kind of know it's him. It's just his particular big floofy hair with it that has gone through all these different styles. But anyways, I had a great time with you guys. I hope you enjoyed.
This was super fun.
This was fun, Ella, and I'm glad that you guys were brave. Anyone, before we close, anyone want to share their last minute Hugos? Before I, but I'm going to do this. Look. I love these so much. I'm going to draw hearts around all of them. Look, hearts are on every Hugo. This is.
Aww.
This is what we love around here. All this awesome art that you guys did. Oh, that's on a different layer. There we go. Look, so cute. You guys did a good job. All right. Well, if you want these little guides, I can put them on Twitter, or I can put them in Discord, whatever you guys want. I can share these I can put this together. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm glad it's been helpful. The box is helpful, right? Like I'm telling you, this method will change the way you draw. Because when I learned to draw just with like drawing a circle. And the problem with just drawing the circle and the sphere is that drawing the head, the square gives you angles, right? That you can position a head, and that also can contain the shape of the sphere. And so that's why I like that, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, I can share this too. So if you guys want, I can share these. And maybe Ella, I'll share these tomorrow on Twitter or something. I'll make this a post. So anyways, hope you guys had an awesome time. Thank you for sharing those. Our little Hugoology session. Ella, any final words before we close out tonight?
No, this was so much fun. You could use this to draw, I guess, now your own OCs and make them kind of in Flux universe a little bit. So we got a good template.
That's right. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great night. It was a lot of fun. We have more streams, I think, this week going on. So be sure to check out the Discord if you haven't already gone there. If you're not already on Discord, go to, you can see below fluxfandom.com. It'll take you into the Discord server where you can join all these other awesome people who are in there, and we have a really good time together. It's like a big little family in there. So, all right. Well, I love you guys. Have a great night, and we'll talk later. Bye.
Bye.